going, Collin? Thanks for doing this today. You guys, I guess Vanderbilt was covering up shy pretty well in the first half on Saturday, and you guys started getting the other receivers involved. How do you think the development of the other receivers getting involved is going through these first three games?
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. I think Shy kind of exploded the first two games, and then you could tell this past week that they were always very conscious of where he was. But yeah, I mean, I think we were able to get a lot of guys going. I mean, you had, Kevin's had huge games. I think Nick, obviously had his biggest game of the year. That was great for us. Zay made some plays. I mean, we definitely got a lot of guys involved, and so I think that's huge for us, just to continue to spread the ball around.
Ben Briner.
Hey, Colin. Obviously, you came into this year really knowing this offense well. How much progress and, I guess, growth have you seen from the guys around you in learning and understanding this offense? And do they have much farther to go, or are they pretty well in tune with it now?
I mean, we think we've made a lot of progress. I mean, this summer, during this OTA time and all that, I mean, we couldn't get lined up sometimes. So, I mean, we've come a long way, but by no means have we arrived, or are we where we, want to be. I think we've gotten better every week. And we just have to continue to do that. I mean, Coach says you're either getting better or you're getting worse. You never stay the same. So, I think we just have to continue to work. And that's not something that just happens on Saturdays, right? I mean, it's your Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday practices that really continues to push the offense as a whole. So I think we, had another good day today, and we just have to continue to stack days.
Mike Hoover.
What makes Kevin Harris such a good running back, and not just that, but in this system specifically? What are some of the skill sets that he brings that allows him to be able to take that, that next step?
Man, he's been a stud. I think his build is I mean, dude's probably 225, but rocked up. Really hard runner. He's been able to catch the ball out of the backfield. So I mean, he can do a lot of things. And obviously he's got the speed to take it, 80, whatever it was this past week. So, I mean, he's a very versatile guy. But, I think he's at his best when he gets north and south, and just continues to keep coming as the game goes on. He's one of those guys, I think, that, as the game wears on, he starts to, those 2, 3, 4-yard runs turn into 5, 6, 7-yard runs. So, he's been great for our offense. But, I mean, I think another key piece of that's our offensive line. I think those dudes have done a great job. As you watch our games, I think we've gotten better at running the ball every single game. And that's just a credit to those guys for continuing to work, creating holes. And then, Kevin's done a great job of making plays after that.
Rick Henry.
Good morning. Last week, Coach Muschamp talked about developing the confidence for winning. And until you win a game, you have to develop that in practice, doing the right things over and over. And now that you have the victory, has there been new energy, or can you tell a rise in the level of confidence now at practice in the meeting rooms?
I think so. I mean, nobody likes losing. I mean, you put in all this work, and definitely wasn't the start we wanted to come out 0-2. But I thought we responded well last week, and to get that first win, it was good for us. I think it's nice to come in on a Sunday and watch the film after you win. As opposed to coming off of a loss. But I do think it gave us confidence. I think as an offense in particular, you can see we're starting to find our stride and getting more confident and comfortable with each other. So, I think it's just something we can build on.
Colin Taylor.
Yeah, Collin, I guess, sorry if you've already been asked this, I kind of came in late to the call, but just what have you seen from Auburn defensively? What kind of coverage do they like to do, and what kind of challenge does it present?
Yeah, I mean, I think Auburn's they're a good team. They're really solid up front. Got good linebackers, solid on the back end. I mean, overall, they're a really good defense. They're one of the best programs in the country. I mean, I remember growing up watching these guys, and they were always in the hunt. At the end of the season. But I think we're just solid, really solid team. Really good defense. We're just going to have to go out and execute and play our game. But for us, it's just about doing our jobs, focusing on what we can control and making the most of our opportunities.
Ben Briner.
coverage have you guys seen this year? I know Vandy played a lot of zone, but just how much man coverage have you seen? How much do you expect going forward?
We've seen a good bit, and to be completely honest, I'm just focused on one game at a time, and I haven't even looked past that. So,
Ben Brenner.
Collin, you're now a few weeks into sort of working in games with this skill position group, and I wanted to ask, how does this group sort of how is it similar and how is it kind of different from style-wise from the skill position groups that you work with when you were at Colorado State?
Football is football. I think it was different. At both places, I think people we were asking different things of the skill groups kind of every year. But like I said, I'm focused on this year. I think I played with really talented guys. Whether it was at Colorado State and here. I mean, we've got a talented group. I'm excited to be here, and I think we've got as you saw last week, a lot of guys that can make plays. So I think we just have to continue to distribute the ball and let those dudes work.
Eric Boynton.
Yeah, Collin, you addressed a little bit in the preseason your relationship with Coach Dave Gutshaw. Could you just expand on kind of what he's meant to you? And it sounds like your relationship really kind of maybe goes a little bit beyond maybe the typical kind of player-coach relationship. You guys are awfully close.
Yeah, I mean, I love Coach Gutshaw. He taught me, he taught me so much about football, but really about life too. We spent a lot of time together. Used to meet in the mornings, and we had a lot of meeting time together. But he means a lot to me. One of my favorite coaches, to ever play for. Just a great person, a great coach. I mean, I think he's, in my opinion, one of the best to ever do it in the state, certainly at Norman. But it was one of those things where I left for Colorado State, and we still, stayed in contact. And whenever I come back, or would come back, I'd always stop by and make sure I saw him and just see how he and Miss Donna were doing. But I love him, love his family, and I'm just really grateful that I was able to play for him.
Last one goes to Ben Brenner.
You he'd said to you after the third knee injury that if you weren't interested in trying to pursue football as a player anymore, that he would make room on his staff for you. Can you kind of recall that discussion? Is that something you even considered for even a minute?
He never. He waited until I met with the doctors and stuff. But he told me they, he wrote up a contract and all that stuff, and was gonna have me, I think, help out with the offense, maybe with the quarterbacks or something there if I decided I was done. But I mean, that meant a lot to me, just to know that he'd be willing to have me back. But no, to be honest with you, I wasn't even on my radar. My mind was I still wanted to play. I felt like I still had stuff to prove, on the field. And so once I got the green light to play, the thought never crossed my mind to stop.
Last question goes to Ben Brenner.
Collin, how much progress have you seen from Xavier since you arrived on campus, and what's the area where he's kind of most improved since you first met him?
Yeah, I mean, I think Zay's a really talented guy. I think he's got a high ceiling. He hadn't been playing receiver long, but you can tell that he's going to be able to do some really good things. I think he's getting better at his route running. I think that was probably the biggest thing. When we were working in the summer, he was pretty raw. But I think he's continued to work on that, and he's getting better every week at his route running, which is huge. Just working on that and getting open. But, dude's really, really athletic, and I'm glad to have him in the room for sure.